Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. Thank you for joining us, joining me, joining whoever. Glad you're here. It is a beautiful day in my part of the world in good old Kansas. So I just want to point that out that after a full week of excessive heat warnings, we actually have a few nice days. So I hope everyone can get out and enjoy it and get some miles logged because it's not hanging out long. Here in another day or two, we're going to be right back in the upper 90s. So it's still summertime. It's still gross. I know we're staring right down the barrel of Labor Day. We're getting so close to it, kind of the unofficial end of summer, but we're not there yet. And the weather is definitely not reflecting how we all feel, which is we want it to be fall. Except for a few of you who I know are quote unquote team summer. You guys are crazy. Please bring on cooler weather. Not cold, just cooler. So this past weekend, we were at the Head for the Cure 5K. So the first thing I have to do is issue a retraction. Might be my first one ever. Last week, if you listened to the whole show, and I don't know if many of you did, I see the averages of how many minutes people watch the show. I don't think many people make it to the end. Must be my voice. But yeah, I kept saying that we were going to do the next race was the Seize the Day 5K. I was way off. It was Head for the Cure. So not that anyone from Head for the Cure listens, but if you do, I apologize. We did the Head for the Cure 5K this past weekend, just yesterday on Sunday. And so that's where the podcast was at. Saw a lot of our running friends there. I think the Seize the Day 5K comes up in September. I think. I don't know why I pulled that name out. So I apologize. I retract my former statement. Again, we're at Head for the Cure. Amazing race, to be real honest. I've done it before, but this year really blew me away. They announced it was their largest attended race. They had 5,400 people doing the 5K. That's huge. So the race was in Overland Park and it was at Corporate Woods, where the Casey Hustle Run will be in 3 weeks. More on that later. But I could not believe the amount of people. So again, judge me if you wish, and you are right to do so. But as I was talking to some of our running friends and some of the listeners of the show, we were talking before the race, and I'm like, guys, keep in mind, this is one of those races where you have a lot of people. This is the only race that they do this year. They are out walking for charity. They are out walking in remembrance of someone. And I am so glad they are there. I am super thrilled that that race had 5,400 people. That is awesome. But as we've said before, when you get a lot of first timers and a lot of people who don't do it often, they don't know how to line up before a race, and it shows. And when you get a lot of people in the matching team shirts and you see them standing around close to the start line, you know that it's going to be a little bit of a conundrum trying to get off to start your race. Just trying to get out of the starting chute because you want the walkers behind you, but they don't always know where to line up. And again, credit to the MC of the event. I think it was actually John Holt, who is a newscaster here in town. But I did hear one of them say, if you are a walker, move towards the back, runners up front. So they at least tried. But even still, super crowded race, tons of people. People are talking and chatting. They didn't hear all that. So yeah, I was trying to get some of the people I know who are there to run the race to kind of inch a little closer to the start line than we normally would because there are going to be a lot of walkers. So I started near the front. I mean, not at the front, not at the elite starting point. I'm not that ridiculous, but I tried to get in front of as many of the walkers as I could. I can't talk. So thankfully I did. I had a pretty clean start, just had to dodge a couple people. No big deal. I know a lot of the people around me, same thing. We all got started pretty clean on that one. If you were farther back, then I know you had a struggle. But the whole reason I'm talking about this, so I'm going, and I had a good race. It was, like I said, a cooler morning. It was overcast. It was not the heat that we have been dealing with. It was my third fastest 5K ever. Okay, I'll take that. So as I am, I'm down, I'm gone, I'm past mile marker 1. I'm coming up to the aid station, and the aid station is directly across this little 2-lane road from the start line. I'm halfway done. There are still walkers trying to get past the starting chutes, still trying to get over the starting line and get started on their walk, race, whatever. I mean, at that point, they were all walking. They're walking together as teams in remembrance, and that's super great. But man, I was really surprised that I'm halfway done with this race and the whole thing hasn't even started yet. So again, that was kind of cool. It was interesting because gave me something to look at as I'm looking at the other side of the road, and wow, there are still a ton of people still trying to file through that start line. But hey, it looked like a great event. I've seen a lot of pictures come out from the event. It looks like everyone had a great time. Again, I did. God, dropped a big old right there. Oof, sorry about that. I did okay for my race. I think other people did pretty well. Pictures look good. The social media posts look good. Looks like a good time was had by all. So that's wonderful. And again, it was a very nice day for a race. I think it was right at 70 degrees, pretty humid. So we're still in the humidity. Light little breeze, overcast, almost perfect for running. If we could just knock a few more degrees off, that would be great. So next weekend is actually Labor Day weekend, the unofficial end of summer. At this moment, I actually don't have a race on the calendar. So one of my other gigs that I do is I am a football broadcaster, and it is the opening weekend for my college that I call the football games for, Mid-American Nazarene University in Olathe, Kansas. I am the voice of their football team, which streams online. So that is where I will be Saturday afternoon, is calling the first game of the season. That's always fun. I enjoy doing that. Again, it's college football, so there's not a whole lot of home games. And I think there's actually one I have to miss this year, but they'll be just fine without me. So that's kind of my plan. I hope you guys all have a great Labor Day weekend. I hope you are out there, barbecue, get a race in. There are plenty around town. There's tons to choose from. I just didn't sign up for any of them. And then after that, we're going to be heading right into the Plaza 10K. And the Plaza 10K is the official start of fall running season. So we're supposed to have spent all summer training for it. Now it's here. It's 2 weeks away. And it's going to be time to really start pounding pavement, because once Plaza 10K gets here, as far as my running schedule goes, it's insane. It is flat crazy, everything that's coming up. So after the Plaza 10K, of course, we have ding, 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 in now less than 3 weeks, the KC Hustle Run. This is our run. This is the race brought to you by the Back of the Pack podcast. And I am going to shoot really honest with everyone right now, because if you know me, you know I don't BS much. Or at all, really. I'm not a big BSer. I'm too old for that nonsense. We had much higher hopes for this race than what is actually going to happen. It is a very difficult time right now. The funds just aren't there. The sponsorships with businesses just isn't there. It sinks. It's unfortunate. I really wanted to cut a huge check to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and really just do that event up. But unfortunately, the sponsors just aren't there. Either they're not there, or I don't know how to find them. I've certainly tried. There are funds that have come out of all of our pockets to help get this done. So the donation to St. Jude is going to be little, and that's unfortunate. But that is where we're at. It's a sad reality, and we touched on it last week of just kind of where the running world is right now. These are super tough times. It's tough for the people doing the running. It's tough for the people who are organizing the races, who are trying to raise money for charities, whatever their various charity is. It's super tough right now. And so, the KC Hustle Run is going to be the best event that we can put on. And we have worked really hard, and we are trying to, get the excitement up and make it a fun race and make it an enjoyable morning. Again, I wish we could have done more, but as it sits right now, we have done the best that we can. And I really, really hope that everyone will come out and enjoy the race and enjoy the morning and get a great run in, and then make sure you're home and showered and you've got your grub ready in time for the Chiefs that play at noon on that day. I've already checked. I checked the schedule. Chiefs play at noon. You've got plenty of time. Make sure you get out there, come run the 10K, and you'll have time before kickoff. All right. So look, we did our due diligence. We looked at the schedule. We are very thankful that the Chiefs weren't out in Munich, Germany, which I think is like either the week before or the week after, which would have really messed up our schedule. But no, you've got time, so no excuses. There is still plenty of time to get registered for the KC Hustle Run. I'm sure you guys have seen, we have put out there on social media and across all of our platforms the medals. The official medals are in for this race. Those are a done deal. Hopefully you've seen them. When we were out at Rexy Run, we had a table. We had the medals, the actual medals sitting right there for you to look at. I think they're really cool. It was a great design by Katie to really show, just various aspects. So we've got the headphones, we've got the microphone to really signify the Back of the Pack podcast, which again, this has been this has been my desire for a very long time to have a race. I'm trying to think of the right word, not in my honor, but just to be, to finally have a race that I'm attached to. I'm not the race director and we're not the charity partner. It was just kind of brought to you by the Back of the Pack podcast, which was my harebrained idea a year and a half ago to start this thing. And so to have a medal with Cartoon Kyle on it and with the podcast theme was really, it really checked so many of my boxes. And I'm so grateful that we get to do it. Again, great design. So you're going to get a really good one-of-a-kind medal. There's not other medals like it out there. Again, a little bigger if you run the 10K, but still same design, looks cool if you run the 5K. So you've got the medals. And then all the races do t-shirts, and t-shirts, of course, are a thing. We opted to go with the beanies. So you're going to get a very custom designed KC Hustle Run beanie. And again, they're bright colors. It's a beanie for when it gets cold, which will be like a month after the race. One of a kind design, again, designed by Katie. And it's really cool. And it's not just a t-shirt that you're never going to wear and you throw in a drawer. Okay. So you've got the beanie, you've got the cool medal, you've got a course that we all know. We all have done corporate woods. Now, again, it's not the normal corporate woods. It's backwards. The 10K takes you out on a trail that goes out and back, paved bike trail that goes out and back. This is not a trail race. You're not off-roading. Again, we can't control if it rains or not, but again, you're not going to have to deal with mud and roots and rocks and things like that. None of that. So we've got a good course. We've got great medals. We have great beanies. We've got a good location, central to a lot, not to everyone. I know some people are going to travel in, and you guys are rock stars for doing that. So we have got the things that we feel will make a good race. We do have people who have tried to help. I honestly couldn't get to the list at the time of this recording as things are being worked on the website right now. So it was actually down when I pulled it up. But I know that our big sponsor is BNSF. So that's the railroad. They have been the biggest sponsor for this race. I want to have a huge thank you to them. Some of the other ones that I know are a part of this are Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park, Kansas. They have chipped in. Culligan Water has donated the water for the race. So the aid stations, that's Culligan Water that has thrown this out there. And then, of course, one of the guys, and I don't touch on him enough, and I apologize, and this is actually a dear, close personal friend of mine who has done great things for this show and for me personally, things he has not always had to do, but he does it. So if you are in the state of Kansas, and if you are, and I need to harp on this guy more than I do, and I apologize. And I know sometimes this is a dirty word, but trust me, you're going to like this. We actually have a lawyer for the Back of the Pack podcast, okay? If you're in the state of Kansas, then I want to tell you about Tell Parrott Law. Yes, that's T-E-L, Tell Parrott, P-A-R-R-E-T-T, Law. All right, he is a lawyer in Kansas. He can do family law. He can do defense work. And this is my guy. All right, his business number, 913-777-4529. And then also you can Google search him and you can get his information that way. But the law offices of Tell Parrott, again, that is my dude. Love this guy to death. And if you are in need of legal representation, then I hope that you'll reach out to him first. He has chipped in on many of the Back of the Pack events. He is a great, again, sponsor for what we do here, and hell of a good dude. So I wouldn't hang out with this guy if I don't like him, but I like him. And so, he's the only guy I know where we got up at 3:30 in the morning and got together to watch the women's U.S. Cup game a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we were watching it, he and I together at 0:30. It was still really early, but yeah, we had a great time. He made some breakfast casserole. I had some maybe adult beverages that early in the morning, and we watched a soccer game. So again, good dude. The law office is Tell Parrott. He is another huge contributor to what we do here. So I wanted to make sure a shout out to him. I know there are some people that I'm missing. Again, the full list was down, but we've got a few weeks until the run. So I'm touching on some of them right now. I'm going to touch on some more next week, and we're just going to kind of keep going until we're there, because September 17th is right around the corner. The last one I'm going to throw out there is the employees of North American Savings Bank. Actually, we have two banks involved, so I'm going to throw them out there. Hawthorne Bank, they are also a sponsor of this race, so huge shout out to Hawthorne Bank. And then the employees of North American Savings Bank, they have started a charity fund together that they are going to throw in towards this race. So again, a huge thank you to both of those financial institutions for what they are doing to help make the KC Hustle Run successful. If you Still want to get on board with sponsoring, you are more than welcome to, and we welcome anything that you can do. If not, just tell your friends and family, get them registered for the race. Again, the registration's still going, still wide open. We are not close to sold out. We don't have a sold out, man. Let's sign them all up. Let's get that 5,400 that they just did for Head for the Cure. Yeah, now that would be something. But registration's still open. If you have not signed up yet, A, I don't know what you're waiting for. And then B, go get signed up now. Quit talking about it. Quit thinking about it. Get it checked off your list. Feel accomplished. Like, man, I've been waiting to sign up for that race. I just haven't gotten around to it. Okay, we'll get around to it. Now's the time. Let's get it done. Because that way we can have super amounts of fun come September 17th. So what I'm going to do on September 17th, again, I'm going to be around. I'm going to be at the starting area. I am going to be saying hello to everyone. I am just going to be like a little kid in a candy store and just having a great time that morning. But once the race starts, I know my oldest and I, we are going to officially be the back of the pack. We are doing the 10K, and we are going to be the last two people that cross the finish line. Like, she is excited about this. We're gonna just come in from the, bring up the rear. That's the right term. Bring up the rear. Get everyone across that finish line. Again, we're gonna make it a party in the back. I'm gonna bring a Bluetooth speaker. We're gonna play tunes. We're gonna have fun. If I catch you, I might make you take a selfie with me. It's possible. But we're going to have a blast. So anyone who's, walking, bringing your dog, pushing a stroller, you hang out with us in the back of the pack if you want, and we will get you across that finish line of the 10K. I guarantee. Another shout out to Mile 90 Photography. Again, they are official photographers for the race. They make everyone look so good. Again, we saw the pictures now from Rexy Run last week. They actually got some good pictures of me, which is not always easy to do. They made me look like $1 million, and they always have. I didn't post it, but I put it myself, a picture from 2018 and a picture from this year. And they caught me. It's like I'm almost at the exact same spot on the course. I almost look identical, except different outfit and minus a few pounds nowadays, thankfully. But yeah, Mile 90, you guys are awesome, and I can't wait to see what you do for everyone at the Casey Hustle Run. So y'all make sure you're ready. When you see that person on the side of the road holding the big camera, trust me, they're going to make you look good. Go ahead and put your smile on. Give them the big back of the pack thumbs up, whatever your situation, but just be ready because they're going to get a picture of you and you're going to look good. And you look even better if you're like ready for it and you give them the big smile, the cheesy grin. There you go. That grin is for your YouTube watchers right there. Sorry about that. So that is it. That's our talk for the Casey Hustle Run. Again, we're going to touch on it again next week, and then we're going to touch on it after that. And then it's going to be here and I'm going to tell you all about it. And so I want you guys to be ready. So the last thing we're going to talk about on this show, again, I've been trying to figure out the different ways to approach this. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's going to get me in trouble, and what's not. But again, I don't BS with you guys. I keep everything pretty simple and straightforward. So here's the situation that we are in as a podcast. All right, let's call this the podcast State of the Union address right now. As I'm sure you've noticed over the last month or so, it has simply been me just doing this show. Producer Katie has officially stepped away from the podcast, which is why earlier I was just calling her Katie. She's not producer Katie anymore. She's just Katie. So we are kind of doing this solo at this point. The show is being edited by me, which is why maybe it's not as crisp and clean. Maybe it's not as great. Things on the website have not been getting updated. The website will eventually be closed down. I am not a web designer. By day, I work at a bank, and then by evening, I'm a runner. And nowhere in there is web designing. That is not my jam. So the website's going to be closed down. So if you are not following us on the social media platforms, then I would highly recommend that you do. Again, Facebook and Instagram seem to be our two biggest outlets, our two biggest portals for information. So please make sure you go out to Facebook, Back of the Pack Podcast, just search it up. You'll see our teal logo. Looks a lot like what's on my hat, except teal, not blue. Go ahead and give that a like and a follow. Same thing on Instagram, Back of the Pack Podcast. You'll find us real easy. So there's going to be changes made here, shortly that will, I don't know, they'll just be different. I mean, I'm not saying good, bad, they're just different. So we're not going to have the website. The Casey Hustle Club, again, it was a good idea. It really was a good idea. The execution is what fell short, and that's my fault. The execution of the Casey Hustle Club really fell short. We started strong, but then when the race came along and everything, all the focus started getting shifted to the Casey Hustle Run. Then the club fell off, and we're not going to renew that for next year because honestly, even though you guys only paid $30 and you got your shirt, which everyone got the Dry Tech shirt, and they're nice shirts, we didn't give you $30 worth of value. All right, that's just truth. And again, that's me. That's my fault. So that will go by the wayside at the end of this year. Everything's just going to be Back to the Pack podcast. And again, keeping things 100, as the kids say. The road to Joe Rogan, Pat McAfee, choose the big daddy sports podcast. The road to them is paved with the dead cold bodies of podcasts like this. All right, ones that set out with the best of intentions and just couldn't reach, never got there. I kind of feel like that's where we're at right now. We have stopped growing, that's for sure. We are very stagnant in our numbers. They're just very consistent. Now, to all of you who watched, a huge thank you. Like, seriously, I've told you guys this before a million times over. For nothing but a little small town bird lawyer like myself, a little small potatoes podcaster, you guys are really great. And I've made a lot of super great friends over this year and a half of doing this podcast. And I'm not cashing it in by any stretch, but the seed has been planted of that idea simply because we're not going anywhere. So what we're going to do, this is, I didn't even bring it up at the top of the show and I should have. This is the Diamond episode. This is episode 75. So 75th anniversary is the Diamond anniversary. This is the Diamond episode of episode 75. I did the math. If we get to episode 100, that puts us at the start of February. I might give us until episode 100 just to see where we're at. I love doing this show, and I love the people that I've met, and I love talking to everyone about running, and I love that we have fun, and I've gotten to meet people, and I'm still going to bring it up. I got recognized in Boston as the host of this podcast by someone who listens in Texas. Greatest thing ever. Still, sorry to my two kids. You guys are now second and third on being born. No, that was like the coolest thing ever. So I love all of that. I really don't want to give it up. Call it me being vain. Call it ego. I don't care what you call it. Call it what you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. I love that stuff, and I want to keep going. I really don't want to stop. I like running, and I like being able to talk to you guys about it too. I like meeting you at the races, and I like having booths and doing all that good stuff. But if we're not going anywhere and we're just spinning our wheels in the mud, eventually just going to run out of gas. The burnout will be real, and we're just going to call it good. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. I definitely want to give it till episode 100. I definitely want to get us into 2024. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still doing these podcasts. I'm still going to see you on race morning. Again, we've talked about how tough times are. If there's any way you want to help the show, again, on our Facebook page is the link at the top to the Patreon page. We still don't have a single one. We're still a huge goose egg on Patreon. But now that this show is 100% in my hands, it's going to take a little help. Little help from the awesome viewers and listeners like yourself. If you just set up $5 a month, that's huge. Seriously, you could do $10 a month and I might fall out of this chair. Well, actually, I'm on a stool. So you've got options if you want to help the show. If you don't, that's great. I get it, man. Times are tough. I understand. But again, if we're not growing, we're dying. Right now, we've got the oxygen tubes on. We're not on life support, but it ain't looking great. Again, this is not a guilt trip thing. If this show dried up tomorrow, I'm still going to be damn grateful for this opportunity. And I'm going to love each and every one of you who have supported me. And I'm still going to see you guys on every race morning. And we're still going to talk and we're going to shoot the breeze. And I'm going to take the silly pictures with the Casey cosplay runner who just ate me yesterday as I was the victim of Audrey 2. If you're a Little Shop of Horrors person, you get that reference. He was Audrey 2. I was his victim. Or maybe he was Audrey 3. Or maybe Andrew 3. Or cosplay 3. I don't know. Call him what you want. But yeah, we're still going to do all of this, even if this show goes away. I don't want it to go away because I have fun, but it could. Who knows? So I'm still giving it my all. You guys give it your all. Share the episodes, like the episodes, comment on the episodes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then give thought, if you can at all spare it, to the Patreon page. And let's just see what happens over the next 25 episodes. Sound good? Because we have so much running coming up to talk about. I really hate to pack it in because then who am I going to talk to about it? My wife? Oh, yeah, she loves talking about running with me. Looks forward to it every day. This is what she loves to do. Yeah, picking up the sarcasm, you should. It was pretty thick. So that is it for the Diamond episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. Again, I have had two other podcasts in my life. They Again, they were great at the time. I had a religious-based podcast for guys going through divorce that has over 1 million views. All right. And when that stopped being helpful or of service or just got too stale and too flat, we ended it. I went to a different podcast that was more of just a good mental health podcast. And again, it did great. Tons of fun. It did great. But again, it eventually served its purpose and it kind of got shut down by Rona. Really, when you're sitting at home all day, every day, and everything's on lockdown and the world has stopped, even I didn't have good mental health at that point. So how could I talk about it on a podcast? So those kind of came few and far between. They also got a little politically motivated at times, not intentionally, but just the way the world was going. So did away with that, and then eventually started this. And honestly, I have loved this more than any of the other two. This has been super fun, but I don't pay to promote it. I'm not sending it to all corners of the globe. This is for the people who find it, and the people who get referred to it, and the people who just want to talk about running and listen to some chump in Kansas talk about running. That's what we do, but this is what I love. This has been the best podcast I've ever done, so I want to see it succeed and do well, but I also understand when it's done. Again, realist right here. But it's up to you guys. It's all up to you. So all of you, though, please don't take any of this as a negative. This is all positive. This is all good. I'm looking at doing a few things myself. Just things that we weren't going to do before that, and now I'm the only chucklehead who makes a decision here. So the sky is the limit, and that's frightening. Everyone should be really worried right now. But that is going to do it for this long-winded, rambling Back of the Pack podcast. I am your host, Kyle Walker, and it 100% is my pleasure to do this for you, with you, all of it. This show is brought to you by me, because I'm the one doing it now. And we'll be back next week. Next week, we will talk about, I don't know, we'll probably have a small episode next week. You guys want to keep it short? We'll just touch on a few things next weekend. It's Labor Day. It's a holiday. It might be your last weekend to be out on the lake or to play that round of golf or to cook out with the crew or, before someone goes off to college, whatever, man. Next weekend's a holiday. So we're either going to keep it short or maybe we'll just call it good. We'll figure it out. But then after that, we kick into fall running season. So you know what? Get ready. 2 weeks away, it is fall running season. 3 weeks away from the KC Hustle Run. Let's go. Super excited. So everyone have a great week of training. Be careful because the heat is coming back, and we will see you next week.